What is the difference between Kabbalah and Chassidus?
We discussed last time the similarity between Kabbalah and Chassidus, that both of them have to do with neshama, and that Kabbalah is neshama for tzaddikim, for Baalei Kabbalah, and Chassidus is for everybody. I want to say another thing, and that is this. There's a famous argument that says, which means that something with a higher source descends lower, or to say it alternatively, something which has descended lower must clearly come from a higher source. The fact that Chassidus has a broad appeal and Kabbalah has a narrow appeal on the surface makes Kabbalah seem much loftier because it's for special people, and Chassidus much more basic because it's for simpler people. But the fact that the same concept of Nishmasa Deraisa, the soul of the Torah, or the godliness of Torah, reaches a lower person shows that Chassidus actually has a higher source than Kabbalah. Which means, in other words, that the biggest tzaddikim gain something from Chassidus that's different than what they gain from Kabbalah. In other words, it isn't only that Kabbalah speaks to special people and Chassidus speaks to the masses, but the special message of Chassidus, which reaches the masses, gives something to the big tzaddik that even Kabbalah wouldn't give him. And the way to explain what it is about Chassidus that's different than Kabbalah is to use the analogy, the mashal, which is used to describe the two systems, the two bodies of Torah. Kabbalah is compared to wine, and Chassidus is compared to oil, shemen. We all know what wine is. If you drink wine on an empty stomach, you're sick. If you drink only wine, you're a drunk. But if you eat meat, and you eat bread, which of course goes on nigla de Torah, lechem ubasar of Torah, and then you drink wine, the wine adds a joy to the Torah, or adds a humility to the Torah, if you will. In other words, you're full of Yiddishkeit, you're full of Torah, and the Nishmasa Deraisa, the wine, alters your state by bringing you into a state of joy. So of course there's the risk. If you drink it without proper preparedness, it can make you drunk, make you sick, which is of course why there are all these warnings about learning Kabbalah prematurely and so forth. But if you drink the wine along with eating a meal, it adds something to you. The point, however, is that wine alters your state. It takes you from here into a different state. Oil is a strange inyan, as it's explained in Chassidus. Number one, you can't eat oil alone. And if you do, you can't make a bracha. But at the same time, fat, shemen, oil exists in everything. It says in Pardes, it says in Kabbalah that you have oil even in stone. I think it's even mentioned in the Maimon that we're learning now. Whatever that means. You cannot eat oil by itself, but oil is eaten with every food. And oil has two opposite characteristics. One characteristic of oil is that it's tzaf al gabi mashkin, it floats, it never mixes with anything. And the other characteristic is that it's mefapeya, it bores through everything. If you have a piece of paper and you put a little bit of fat here, it'll stain the whole page. And the halacha is that if you have a piece of bread and you have a little bit of oil, and the oil is truma, even before the entire piece of bread shows the stain from the oil, it's all considered nimua, mixed between truma and chulin. Because since it will radiate over the whole piece of bread, it's as though it already has. So oil on the one hand doesn't mix with anything, and on the other hand oil bores through everything. And that's the characteristic of Chassidus. Chassidus reaches everybody. Everybody knows what Chassidus is. Everybody senses the magic of Chassidus. It talks to the neshama. It talks to the pinta liyid. And the lowest of Jews is touched by Chassidus. And nobody has it. Nobody masters it. Nobody knows at all what it is. And these characteristics are what separates Chassidus from Kabbalah. Kabbalah is like wine that intoxicates. It changes you. It raises you up. But you have to be careful. Chassidus reaches you. It comes all the way inside of you, no matter how low you are. And no matter how much you benefit from Chassidus, you're always reaching for it. You're never sure what it is.